Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice for Radio. So today we need to have a chat about the Azure Legends tins, which have been revealed. They've been popping up in listings online, and we need to have a chat about them. There's 3 of them, and they've got brand new exclusive EXs. And also, I told you so. I should mention that the 3 flavors are Kyogre, and Dialga, and Xerneas. 3 different generations, half of the legendaries, makes sense. And we got a little description on the back of the tin here. Into the wild blue yonder with Pokémon EX. Legendary Pokémon are behind many of the mysteries of the Pokémon world, and now you can discover their amazing power for yourself. With this tin, choose the surging waves of Kyogre EX, the piercing horns of Xerneas EX, or the temporal might of Dialga EX as a foil promo card that's ready to add to your deck or collection binder. You can also get a handful of Pokemon TCG booster packs with more cards to find inside. And then confirmation that you do get a promo card, 5 packs, and a code card for Pokemon TCG Live. Standard tin. Yes, there is likely to be a portrait version with 4 packs. These are the landscape versions with 5, but they haven't been shown off yet, which doesn't really seem that weird to me, because a lot of the time the 5-pack tins are more for North America and the 4-pack tins are more for Europe, and these have been shown off over on American sites, so this does actually make kind of perfect sense. So the first question here, of course, is, well, hang on a second, Dialga, Xerneas, and Kyogre EX, where did Pokemon find them? And the answer is the Generations decks. I made a video about this the other day, talking about these EXs, telling you that these EXs were not going to be in Prismatic Evolutions. And that wasn't some huge prediction. Prismatic Evolutions only has 10 regular EXs, and there's 18 in the Generations decks, so they couldn't possibly have put them all in there. There is, as I keep telling you, still a chance that a couple of them end up in there. We could see a couple of the EXs from the Generations decks sneaking their way into the set. That could happen, but they cannot put them all there. There literally isn't enough room. But that leaves us with a bunch of EXs, and my prediction the other day was that we were going to see them just distributed in various random ways, some as promos here and there, and then the last few chucked into a set somewhere down the line, which I still reckon that's going to happen. That still should be the case. And these are essentially some of the first dominoes to fall. These 3 end up in here. This is the Kyogre from the Kyogre Blaziken deck, the Dialga from the Dialga Lucario deck, that's of course Gen 4, Kyogre's Gen 3, and then the Xerneas from the Xerneas Noivern deck, which is your Gen 6 deck. So, yeah, we were never going to get the Generations decks. That's just not a thing. We don't get stuff like this. This is a Japan product. We don't get these. Japan gets these decks pretty often, honestly, and then we get them translated over here in promo sets and real sets and individual promo cards, and it's all a little bit just where can we fit them in, and that's fine. Do remember I showed you the other day that the Blaziken is actually like legit. The Blaziken is actually a genuinely good card that is already winning over in Japan. I showed you a winning list for that the other day. So I'm just putting it out there that they've given us a Kyogre, which I don't think is a particularly good card. Could have given us the Blaziken. But then, of course, the whole conceit of the decks is that they are legendary Pokemon decks. So you can't put Blaziken in. That wouldn't make no sense now, would it? So what do we have then? Are any of these any good? Well, the Dialga I actually really quite like. We've got 220 HP. These are obviously all basics because they're legendary Pokemon that aren't from Gen 7. And we got single energy, 20 damage, draw a card. Now, frustratingly, Dialga I always kind of had pegged as, oh, that'd be good in a pre-release. I think it would be good in a pre-release, honestly. Got it. There will be no pre-release for Dialga because it's coming out in this deck instead, or in this tin instead, I should say. So, yeah, sorry about that. We do have another attack here, though, which is free energy, 100 damage, plus 20 more for each metal energy attached to this Pokemon. which honestly, not too bad. Like, it takes a bit too long to ramp up, and we've got some energy acceleration here for metal, but I'm not sure it's quite good enough, which is a little bit sad. But there's certainly a little bit of potential here. This is certainly one which I could see. I could see people playing around with this. And honestly, in the early game, the idea of just sitting there, getting a bit of damage on the board while drawing a bunch of cards, that is something else which does interest me greatly. So just keep an eye out for Dialga. Not saying it's a game-breaking card, not saying it's going to be, winning tournaments left, right, and centre, but I absolutely am saying that there is a little bit of potential here, and it's a card I could see people having a bit of a play around with. Put it that way. As for Xerneas, well, we've got 210 HP, 2 energy, 50 damage, or 3 energy, 120. But against a Pokemon EX, it does 100 more damage. So, 220 against an EX, not good enough otherwise. And look, 3 energy, 120, not good enough. I do need to say, 3 energy, 220, like 220 is a bit of a key number. It gets you a basic Pokemon V, which is nice. And it'll get some EXs. But I don't think it gets enough EXs here, honestly. Like, nowadays, you've got too many EXs, I don't know, Roaring Moon, for instance, which is sitting now with, like, 230. Well, yeah. That's a bit of an issue here. And sure, there's a bunch of ways to do an extra 10 damage. The extra 10 damage isn't that difficult. But my point is that if I'm putting free energy onto this Pokemon, I really want to be one-hitting something like a Roaring Moon. I don't want to be having to find that extra 10 damage, frankly. That just seems a little bit mean and a little bit annoying. So, bit of potential here, absolutely. Game-breaking phenomenal card? Arguably not. As for Kyogre here, we got 230 HP. So, frankly, gutted Xerneas, you ain't getting it. And we've got free energy 80. You may switch out your opponent's active Pokemon to the bench. Force them to put a new Pokemon into the active. That is something you can do. And then we got 4 energy, 230, there we go. Discard 2 energy from this Pokemon. And look, it's an energy-hungry water Pokemon. Water Pokemon do tend to be energy-hungry. But that's because we tend to get cards like Baxcalibur that can put all the energy back on there. So you can play it in a Baxcalibur deck. But 4 energy is a little bit hungry. I like being able to force my opponent's Pokemon to the bench, make them put a new Pokemon active. There'll be some games where they basically can't put a new Pokemon active. I mean, they can, obviously. But, like, they can't put one active that's convenient. So they're forced to put a Pokemon in the active that they're not able to retreat or whatever it might be. So, yeah. Could be kind of fun. My favourite of the 3 is the Dialga here. But for me, the most exciting thing is exclusive EXs. Like, whether you think they're particularly good or not really isn't the point. The point here is that we've got a bunch of exclusive EXs. If you're collecting EXs, you need them. If you're collecting promos, you need them. They are numbered Black Star promos. And there's going to be a lot of people out there who really like Kyogre, Dialga, Xerneas and all that. So it's cool that we're getting them. Still does leave a question about the other EXs from the Generations decks. And this is where I just say, I wish I could tell you. I wish I had that information that I don't. Blaziken has got an ability that accelerates a basic energy once during your turn to one of your Pokemon. Any basic energy, a Pokemon, so that's really good. And then 2 energy, 200, and counterattack next turn. It's fine, it's not great or terrible. And, there's a bunch of others. I personally want the Paldean Clodsire. I don't think it's that good. I just want his happy face in my binder, frankly. And then there's a whole bunch of super popular Pokemon, like my boy Snorlax, for instance, or like Bangidas. I hope you've all seen the advert doing the rounds. Or Lugia. We just don't have them yet. We'll have them at some point. All of these will make their way out. They always do. We're going to get all of these EXs, but having these tins here kind of backs up what I predicted the other day, which is we're going to get all of these. Absolutely, we are going to get all of these. It's just that we're going to be getting them piecemeal in a bunch of products here, there, and everywhere until the last few get popped into a set. Not the end of the world. I just kind of want my Blaziken now. But for now, I want to know what you think about these tins. I want to know if you're picking them up. I want to know anything you want to tell me. So let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. And get shout-outs on the channel like the lovely Kanto Royal T, who's been a supporter of ours for a long time now and is a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.